Hello everyone, it's Crystal Ether here with a review of the 4th Anniversary Heroes, and this video will go over members of the East Sector. All of these heroes can work well as either a DPS or a support, so they're easy to slot in regardless of your card progression. Each of these commemorative heroes carries the newly implemented Area of Effect burst skill, as well as skills that decrease their own cooldowns alongside some useful effects. Luckily, these AoE burst skills work fine when fighting a single enemy, ensuring they remain useful outside of this event. As the cherry on top, each of these heroes work best when in a party comprised of their sector members, with their skills gaining additional effects. As a heads up, these heroes work the same way despite the deviations in skill effects, so really, if you think you don't need one hero, you probably don't need any of these 4th Anniversary cards. They're very nice to have, but in no way are they necessary. Of course, if you really like the card, then go for it. Starting off these heroes is Gray, who brings a bleed modifier and dispel in his skill set. What he lacks in the quantity, he makes up for quality. The level 3 stack for the damage modifier is no joke, and the spell has become more useful as survive events begin incorporating it as a mechanic. This card can afford to be paired in non-East teams, as the additional effects on Gray's skills are minor and easily replaceable. To avoid repeating myself when going over all the 4th Anniversary cards, the small defense buff against an attribute isn't worth restricting the team to a single sector on its own. I'm just going to say this right now, all the 4th Anniversary cards can use the hunting frame, with minor repercussions, though some heroes have stronger or more useful alternatives for main frame slots. For Gray, his Christmas frame remains useful in helping the team charge their burst gauge, as 2 attack orbs on demand is a great effect even with a high cooldown. Otherwise, his Circus frame, despite the 3-turn initial cooldown, is an option to top off BP gauges, as these heroes have stronger burst skills the more BP they consume. Billy's typical role of a supporter shines yet again with his 4th Anniversary card, buffing the team's critical hit rate and critical damage through flat and stackable buffs. However, this East rookie comes with a pleasant surprise: Special Attack Orb Regeneration. A rare effect on its own, but this nifty effect has amazing uptime in tandem with his second skill, when its SP Orb regen effects usually have significantly longer cooldowns. If you're looking to build an East team, 4th Anniversary Billy should be at the top of your list out of all the East 4th Anniversary heroes, as this effect is extremely difficult to replicate from other sources and is overall very useful to have on hand. Billy's support-oriented frame library is already quite stacked, though there is a notable overlap between his better frames and what this 4th Anniversary card can do. If you aren't using the hunting frame, then Billy's 4th birthday frame is the best option for maximizing his skill usage in shorter fights, reducing his skill cooldowns by 1 turn while providing Billy with 2 special attack orbs. For lower rarity frames, his Chapter 12 frame is a simple option that provides 1 ally with a special attack orb and BP gauge with a 5-turn cooldown at max limit break. Though with 4th Anniversary Billy's existing skill effects, the BP gauge boost may be more valuable. You can even get away with a basic healing frame on this card if necessary, as the SP Orb regen effect in Billy's first skill can decimate a good chunk of boss's HP when in tandem with modern DPS and buffer cards. 4th Anniversary Asch can be considered the opposite of Gray, as he's at the top of the list for the highest number of skill effects in the entire card roster, additional effects notwithstanding. He has all the basic buffs for an offense-oriented support, though the low levels balance out what would otherwise be considered an overloaded skill. Asch needs the rest of the East Sector to shine, as a stackable BP regen effect only becomes significant with higher levels, something infeasible for most of the fight with only a level 1 stack per cast. Asch's lack of support-oriented frames can make it a challenge to slot in, though the overlapping effects are a positive thing with how weak his skill modifiers are. His Christmas frame is reliable to support any DPS card, as the flat burst damage buff stacks alongside Asch's stackable buff, and the special attack orb is a nice bonus as well. Otherwise, the Mentor's cheerleader event frame can work, but a debuff that decreases both attack and defense won't be as useful as a debuff that only targets one of these stats, and the 2-turn initial cooldown requires some alignment to capitalize on. Rounding off the East Sector is the menace of Fish Everywhere, Kidman, whose skill set is a mix between Grey and Asch. With both burst damage and critical damage buffs alongside a generous damage modifier that absolutely warrants the entirety of East, 4th Anniversary J is an excellent addition to the hero's cool attribute lineup. If you already got Billy, then J would be my recommendation to go for next if you plan to spark. Only if you care for gameplay purposes. Just for gameplay purposes, be good fans. I know, don't come after me. Jay's existing frame roster leans towards a DPS role, so using this card as support can be a challenge, even if this card can dabble in both. His 4th birthday frame is the best alternative for him besides hunting, as similar to Billy's frame, the skill cooldown reduction and special attack orbs synergize well with the 4th anniversary skill sets. However, his 3-star pirate frame is an excellent fit on a budget with this card's cool attribute, as an extra stack for a damage mod against brave enemies is welcome, especially for a frame that can be maxed out over time. The 4th anniversary cards are honestly visually underbaked compared to the 2nd anniversary cards, but their gameplay strength speaks volumes on the direction Helios is taking. The East heroes are fairly balanced in winners and losers of the sword. They're all pretty good, honestly, though we'll have to keep an eye out on how the game's support heroes will change going forward, if at all. Either way, I hope this review was helpful for any last minute rolls, and I'll see you all in the next video.